What is up, Edison duelists? This is Dionysus, aka Young Puds, coming at you guys on this beautiful snowy Thursday with some more shameless, hype beast, Gigavise content. Well, let's just jump right into this game, and I'll talk about what I'm thinking about with Gigavise today. So I gotta be honest, folks, all this testing Future Fusion, testing hero stuff, I think I've come to the decision that it's just not for me. I definitely respect that it could be a marked percent increase into my combo rate, but I gotta say, it just feels so bad whenever I draw Alias, and especially when I draw Future Fusion along with the targets making it dead. I tried to mitigate this by playing like Blazewing Butterfly and Raptinius in the extra deck, and I gotta say, that didn't help either. It just doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel good for that type of thing to be happening. And I don't know about you guys, but Yu-Gi-Oh is a game. I'm playing this because I think it's fun. And if I'm not having fun, what am I doing? So I just don't think the Future Fusion package is fun. And so I decided to just refocus, go back to a deck list that I liked. So these three games I'm going to share with you today, these are all with the list that I posted on Sunday. This is just a very plain, clean, straightforward Gigavise game, and I think all these games were really, really fun. I had a lot of fun in these matches, and I think it shows in my gameplay. So let's get right into it here. Our opponent has T-set and pass. We have just drawn. We've hit an armory to find the supervise. If we had maybe a little bit of defense, you probably would want to set or summon the nettles there, so then you could tribute it for Gigaplant and get going with supervise into like some level 8 combo action. We didn't have any defense, so I'm just hoping to survive just a little bit longer, get some information with Dust Shoot, and then go from there. So we are going to go ahead and Dust Shoot now. We'll take a look at our opponent's hand, and Spirit Reaper is obviously going to go back. I gotta say, folks, if you are looking for strategies to counter Gigavise, just slotting a Spirit Reaper into your deck can really do a lot. It's a really good card. If I'm opening slow and I'm forced to not commit any monsters, and then you punish with a Spirit Reaper, a lot of like the really good cards, like maybe a supervise that I'm holding until I can go off, you can rip those out of my hand, and then even if I draw a Lone Fire Blossom, I'm in bad shape. Now, speaking of drawing Lone Fire Blossom, we have drawn the next best thing, and that is a SSN to pair with our nettles. So we're going to Heavy Storm and then fire the SSN. We're going to go ahead and go for Lone Fire Blossom here into the second Lone Fire on into the Gigaplant. And then we are just going to go ahead and supervise for Lone Fire Blossom and Copy Plant. Spoiler alert, I do have some really bad news here, folks. We actually do miss with the Power Tool Dragon here. So fortunately, we have the DDR, so it's not the most devastating miss in the world. But if we hadn't missed, we would have gamed this turn. Instead, we are forced to settle for a slightly worse play. I am going to take the Pyramid Turtle because I don't want our opponent resolving its effect at all. And then we are going to push in for a ton of damage, get our opponent very low. Passing on a Titanial, I'm feeling a little safe, but you got to keep in mind that this is Zombies. Zombies does have a really easy time taking apart the Gigavise board. They love to go into Colossal Fighter, they love to go into Goyo, and this is a board that I've made that is not particularly resistant to either of those. So once our opponent draws this Deep Sea Diva, that is going to be the perfect answer to our situation. He'll even have the Book of Life. He's going to make an Urquazes. This is just a level 6 body. He's going to waste a Titanial activation with that Mind Control. I can't afford to give our opponent the Gigaplant. He'll just synchro with it. And our opponent is going to go ahead and make Colossal Fighter, which is going to clear our board. And then they'll also punch in for 1800 with Zombie Master. So definitely a bad setup for us here. Threatening Roar is going to be no help. We'll get to live another turn, but that isn't really going to matter when all we can top deck is a hidden armory. Even if we, get a Mark of the Rose, it's not going to do anything, so we'll scoop it up. We'll go to game 2. I do think Gigavise is in general better than Zombies, but as you can see here, like Zombie definitely has ways to crack our board. They definitely have counterplay. It's definitely a competent deck. I think Plants versus Zombies, like what an iconic matchup. There's I think there's like a little mobile game we all used to play with, with the pea shooters and the walnuts and the plants and the zombies, and this is really reminiscent of that. But just like in that game where the plants are the good guys and the zombies are the disgusting, filthy, subhuman villains, we're the heroes of our story here on Gigavise. And, a little bit of divine providence has helped us out. We are opening Lone Fire Supervise. We are just going to go for a power tool combo here. I am okay missing because I do have that Mark of the Rose, the Dandelion, and the Super Solar. That's why we just went for the one Lone Fire Blossom to hedge against a miss. And of course, we don't miss here. So, missing last game, pretty devastating. Missing this game wouldn't have been so bad. And this is, of course, when 66% is rounding up to 100. Anyways, we're just going to make our Titanial and then pass. I could have set the MST here, and I decided not to. I think that sometimes zombies are siding in oppression against us, so I'd rather hold that and not lose it to something like a Heavy Storm. There's also just no plays that zombies have that are going to be interrupted by MST, so I think it's just going to be more valuable as a card in hand. And as we see, our opponent does actually have that Heavy Storm, so very glad I held the MST and I'm not losing it. Other things that we're glad about, our opponent no longer has a dad. They were forced to banish their dad. This is a common thing that happens. You mess with the dark arts, and you lose your father. So keep an eye on that. Don't lose your dads, guys. Our opponent is going to Heavy Storm, clearing the Supervise, and then he is going to go ahead and try and Brain Con. We'll just tribute off the Giga. Perfectly fine losing it. And then our opponent is once again T-setting with that Pyramid Turtle and passing it back to us. We are going to go first, activate the Power Tool Dragon. Here, I'm going to reveal 2 DDR and 1 Supervise. I would rather have the DDR. I don't have any Supervise targets immediately, so having a DDR to pair with the Lightning Vortex, or the Mark of the Rose, rather, is going to be fantastic. We are going to clear the back row away, and now we're just going to attack. I'm assuming it's probably a Pyramid Turtle. Even if it was like a Fossil Dyna, it's got to go eventually, so happy to just get through it. And then we are also going to clear the Goblin Zombie away. I don't want to leave our opponent with any kind of board presence. They are going to get a Plague Spreader Zombie, probably the best card in their deck. And then they are going to draw a Mizuki for turn. So they kind of have all the little zombie combo pieces here. We don't have a particularly strong board, so they are going to be free to go right on ahead and Zombie Master to summon the Plague, and then make a 6. It's going to be the Revived King Hades. Again, this is just a 6 body to try and level climb on into a Colossal Fighter, which is going to be very clean and neat way to handle our board. Our opponent is going to just pass with that Mizuki on hand. And fortunately for us, we draw a Miracle Fertilizer. I don't even think we needed this, folks, but now we do have a very clean line to win the game. I'll give you a second to pause the video and see if you can find it. 3, 2, 1, no spoilers. Here we go. So we are going to DDR for that Copy Plant, and then we are going to get our 2 tokens. And at this point, we can then use SSN to get rid of one of the tokens to get a Lone Fire Blossom from our deck. Here, we're actually going to get Nettles, and Nettles is going to come up in a moment. We are going to Copy Plant and Lone Fire Synchro Summon the 4 for Armory Arm, and then just Miracle Fertilizer to make a Colossal Fighter of our own, and then give the Armory Arm to our opponent's Colossal Fighter, and then just smack our guy in for game. So a little bit of a different Colossal Fighter Armory Arm line there, but that is pretty good. It is going to play around a potential Gores that our opponent might have had. So always happy to do that. Always, even if you have like a total nuts combo hand, like I could have done a lot of things with that hand that I had, but that was the line. The Colossal Armory Arm is a great way to play around Gores, so I definitely think it was best. Anyways, here we go into game 3. Our opponent is going to set a DD Assailant, and we are going to have another fantastic hand. Heaven is smiling upon us. We have Dandelion off of the Foolish Burial. That is going to trigger the Super Solar Nutrient. I gotta say, guys, it always feels so good to start my combos with the Foolish SSN combo, because I haven't used a normal summon. So even if I miss with Power Tool, something like that, I have a normal summon ready to go, ready and waiting. Here we are just going to Supervise for the Gigaplant to get a Copy Plant out, and then we are going to Synchro 7 for Power Tool Dragon. We are then going to bring back Gigaplant, and then here we are going to Power Tool again. And unfortunately, I believe, yes, I do miss here. If I hadn't missed, we would have gone for Mistworm to bounce this, and then normal summon the Gigaplant again and then just have game on board. Unfortunately, we are going to have to settle a little bit and instead just summon back the Gigaplant to bring back Copyplant here, actually. And then Copyplant is going to go ahead and get us Black Rose Dragon. I want to see what this is, so I am going to go ahead and Black Rose effect to turn it into attack. And because I did get the DDR, I'm fine banishing the Lone Fire Blossom there. We are going to see that it is a DD assailant, so since it's not a recruiter, I'm saying, oh, fantastic, we have game. I'll DDR for the Lone Fire Blossom, and then Lone Fire is going to go ahead and get us a Nettles. Nettles is the only plant with any stats to speak of left in our deck, because we did draw this Gigaplant, but this is actually going to be a nice backup line for game, even though we did miss. So I wanted to do the Mistworm line, didn't get that, so instead we had a very nice clean line for game, just like that. So that was the first game. I thought that was a really fun match. Obviously, I opened really strong, but nothing wrong with that. I almost feel like when I'm having a good time, the deck wants to keep it rolling, and it lets me continue to have a good time. Here, this second match, our opponent is also going first, and they are on the Monster Mash kind of deck. Definitely a cool deck. Definitely a lot of fun to play. We do get to see that our opponent is getting a DD Crow there, which I'm very happy to have that free kind of information. We're going to upstart into another card, and then we have a Gold Sark to go ahead and play. We will banish the Lone Fire Blossom, and then we are going to DDR for the or Hidden Armory for the DDR. Can't DDR for a Hidden Armory. DDR can only summon monsters. That's not how that works. And then here we are going to go ahead and discard the Nettles to get Lone Fire Blossom, and then we are going to discard the Dandelion into our grave with Foolish. Here, Lone Fire is going to tribute off a token to get another Lone Fire, and then this Lone Fire is going to tribute the other token for Copyplant. And then here, I have actually messed up. I'm going to go ahead and take the Dandelion. I use Copyplant's effect now, and I didn't notice that Witch of the Black Rose is a tuner. So what you actually want to do here is this Lone Fire, you want to tribute itself off for Gigaplant, and then you just take the Witch of the Black Rose and make your level 7 Synchro Monster with it that way. So unfortunately, we are having to settle for a slightly worse line here. What can you do? We wouldn't have had, I guess, a complete OTK, because our opponent does have DD Crow and Battle Fader, but it definitely would have been more efficient to properly Synchro summon. Anyways, here I'm noticing that, oh, Witch of the Black Rose is a tuner. I didn't have to make Copyplant level 3. And I'm just going to get my Power Tool Dragon up, and I'll go ahead and use Power Tool's effect, revealing 3 Supervise. Getting 1 to our hand. 100% doesn't even need to round up. It's already at 100%. We'll set the Mirror Force and pass. Definitely would be better if this Copyplant was a Gigaplant. But what can you do, folks? Our opponent is going to draw Vanity's Fiend, and glad that for us that he didn't use the Battle Fader already. He doesn't have a super clean way to get that on the field. Instead, he is just going to go ahead and Machina Fortress, and then summon the Dandelion to go ahead and try and clear our plants. Please don't clear my pants, bro. Clear my plants, one thing. Clearing my pants, not allowed. Hey, not how we do things here. Anyways, we do have the Mirror Force to keep ourselves nice and safe. So we are going to Power Tool just to get some more free cards. What do we find here but another Supervise? Feels good, man. Lone Fire Blossom is going to trigger. Now we get the Gigaplant. And then we'll give that Gigaplant a Supervise. Go ahead and get a Lone Fire Blossom back. This Lone Fire Blossom is going to get us into the Titanial. We already have the Copyplant on field, so we do get that extra activation. And our opponent is going to go ahead and scoop. He has the DD Crow, he has the Battle Fader, but I think he realizes that he's not going to have a good way to come back and break our board. So he would just prefer his chances for future matches, or future games, rather. So let's go right into game 2. Not a lot that I really feel that I need to side with this deck. I think we're a pretty favored matchup. So just I think I might have just left my deck exactly as is, Anyways, we have drawn a threatening roar here, and so this is, especially with the other threatening roar and the other mirror force, we can play really slow. I'm kind of thinking, okay, let's see if we can just get our opponent to go really wide into all these threatening roars and then punish with the mirror force. Always a good plan. I think these cards, these two traps, have excellent synergy together. Our opponent is going to just draw and swing into us with the gear frame, and he'll set, oh, that's a dandelion. Especially game 2, I'm cautious. I'm like, oh, is that a fossil dyna? What's going on here? We draw a Book of Moon. I guess I did side those in. And our opponent is going to swing at us for another 1800. And he will set a back row. Now, I know this is Monster Mash, and so I'm pretty confident that this back row is going to be Pot of Avarice. They don't really play real traps. I can't see them citing anything real in against us. So here I am just going to set the Dandelion. Not ready to start losing things for hand size. Don't want to commit any more sets to the board, just in case that's like a pro set heavy. I think that's something we could also see them playing. And here our opponent is going to Witch of the Black Rose. You can't use this effect because he has other cards on the field, but he is going to be able to make a Stardust Dragon, which would invalidate that Mirror Force. Not so great for us. It's looking like our hand is really just going to want us to wait out a little bit longer until we can find combo. So I am going to just allow that first attack through. We still have a Threatening Roar. I'm going to set the Mirror Force for hand size. Probably not going to use that into the Stardust Dragon, but what can you do? Our opponent is going to summon the Machina Fortress and then flip summon the Dandelion, and then just try and swing in. Here we are going to stop it with the Threatening Roar. Probably didn't have to, but just feels right. And then we are going to draw into a Trap Dust Shoot, and we'll set that along with another Threatening Roar. Our opponent draws for turn, drawing into a second Pot of Avarice, and here we are going to go ahead and Dust Shoot. We'll get rid of the Gores, and then pass it back to our opponent. These two Gallus here, those could be a little threatening, but our opponent's board is, he's already gone pretty wide, so, he's going to have to commit more if he wants to just, like, drop the double Gallus. And once again, we are going to Threatening Roar, just giving ourselves one more turn. Our opponent's going to wall up these two weaker monsters into defense position and then pass it back to us. And then here, what do we draw but Gigaplant? And we actually do have a good line for game here. So take a second, pause the video, see if you can find it. I'll give you a few seconds. I don't know, that's a few seconds. And let me show you how we win the game. Remember, we know this is Monster Mash, so it is pretty safe to assume that this trap or this back row is nothing real. So I am confident making this line that I do go ahead and make. So I'll tribute one of the tokens that has been summoned on a previous turn. For the Gigaplant, we're going to Foolish Burial to send the Lone Fire Blossom. Get that out of the way, and then we are going to Gigaplant for Lone Fire. Lone Fire is going to tribute the token for Nettles, and then we are just going to very easily Synchro Summon into Colossal Fighter. Supervise is going to bring back the Gigaplant. We have the second Supervise to turn Gigaplant's effect on, and then we are going to make a level 4 Armory Arm. We will equip that to our opponent's Machina Fortress. You want to pick Fortress here because if, for whatever reason, this is like a trap that can discard or destroy anything, we don't want to make, maybe it's an MST, I don't know. Like, our opponent probably would have chained it, but you just have to play around that ultimate contingency. If they had something that could destroy and we put the Armory Arm on the Stardust Dragon, they'd be able to activate their card, negate it with the Stardust Dragon, we'd lose the Armory Arm. So this is just a slightly safer play, and then we are just going to ram our Colossal Fighter into that Machina Fortress a bunch of times. Our opponent doesn't concede immediately. He knows this is game, but I guess no one's ever explained to him why it was game. So we take the time to explain that, and then that is the match. So GG in this second match, and then now let's see this third one here. Our opponent is going to go ahead and upstart Goblin and then set 2 back row here. We are going to draw a Dandelion, which is a fantastic draw to go with this Super Solar Nutrient, but unfortunately for us, our opponent does have the Trap Dust Shoot. So we're losing the Dandelion, we're giving them free information. Feels bad, man, but we do have the upstart, and there's quite a few cards we could draw off the upstart that would let us keep playing. Unfortunately, a Super Solar Nutrient isn't one of them, So we're just going to go ahead and Gold Sark for the Lone Fire and then set the Threatening Roar. I just have to live 2 turns. And then, you know, we can win with the Supervise. Probably pretty easy to do. Even better here now, we are going to draw the Gold Sark. So I'm going to Gold Sark for Trunade. If our opponent still hasn't, you know, he just let us go, you know, he just passed. So I'm thinking that, okay, we're definitely going to be able to live because of the Threatening Roar long enough for the Lone Fire. And if our opponent just passes again or does something weak and we don't have to spend the Threatening Roar, then we can afford to wait that 1 more turn. And then we'll get Trunade, and that is going to be a really, really safe, powerful push. Our opponent here is going to draw Plague Spreader Zombie. Going to choose to you know, start committing to the board with this. Doesn't want to allure it away. I think that's respectable. Our opponent is going to go ahead and summon that level 3 off of Instant Fusion, and then normal summon the Plague. And then they will just swing in at us with that Magical Android. No reason at all to Threatening Roar that. I'm thinking, okay, this is perfect. We draw a Mark of the Rose. That's fine. And here we're drawing a Lone Fire Blossom. So there is no way we're going to lose next turn. We have the Threatening Roar to keep us safe. Let's just wait until we can find that Giant Trunade. Here our opponent draws Krebens, and then they're thinking, okay, this is a good time to go ahead and use Allure. They'll banish that Krebens. They are going to pick up a Torrential and a Gorz. So I'm glad we have that Trunade to deal with the Torrential. And then here, folks, we have drawn the second Supervise, which is just perfect. So we are going to be able to do yet another Colossal Fighter Armory Arm OTK. You know, I'm really glad I decided to just have fun playing the game. And I feel like the spirit of my deck was like, all right, we're having fun. What's more fun than a Colossal Fighter Armory Arm OTK? So I also hope these games, you know, help put yesterday's video into practice. I know just, you know, a quick little scuffed recording of some cardboard combo lines can feel a little abstract. So, you know, here's an excellent way where you can see very clearly in-game, in practice, how we are going ahead and making that Colossal Fighter Armory Arm line. We get that extra Gigaplant back, but it, of course, really doesn't matter. And then here we are going to make our Armory Arm, and that is going to be game. So, game 1 against, it looks like this is like, you know, Psychics, Welladad, that kind of deck. I think that's another really, really good deck. You know, it has a pretty high ceiling. It definitely can compete with Gigavise, but unfortunately you get hands like that last game. And kind of like this one, where you have these dead wells at the beginning. You know, if there was a Psychic that you could get off of Instant Fusion, you know, hey, now we're talking. But that's kind of not the case. Here our opponent is going to set a Mizuki and then pass it to us. We are going to Hidden Armory for a DDR, and then Hidden Armory again for a Supervise. And we are now going to Gold Sark for the Lone Fire. And now here I could go off right now, but I have the Heavy Storm to deal with the back row, so not worried about that. But I am worried about this being a Fossil Dyna. And I'm kind of thinking, folks, that, you know, if I just go off right now, the best I can do is Stardust with Gigaplant. I've used the Hidden Armory, so I don't have my normal summon. So I'm kind of thinking I'm just going to pass here. I have the DD Crow, and I know that, you know, these kind of zombie Plague Spreader decks, they need the graveyard to OTK, and usually one DD Crow is enough to insulate you for a turn. So I'm feeling safe enough to pass. I'm feeling like I don't have to go in right away, and this way, next turn, I can drop the Heavy, and then DDR for the Lone Fire. And it is just going to be a little safer, and I'm still going to have my normal summon, so I'll be able to go Stardust, Gigaplant, and then Gigaplant, normal summon, go into like a Titanium. And that's just going to be a little bit stronger of a board, so I'm feeling better about doing that. So we do just pass. Our opponent draws a second DD Crow, which is a little scary. You know, one DD Crow pretty easy to play through for this deck. Two DD Crows, speaking of that, we got it as well. You know, DD, 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 DD. That's 8 Ds for those of you keeping score at home. You've heard of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, but this match is Yu-Gi-Oh! 8Ds. Pro, that is. Anyways, We're going to Heavy Storm, and then we're going to DDR, bring back our Lone Fire Blossom. We are going to Lone Fire Blossom for the second Lone Fire here. It's late in the game. You got to play around DD Crow. I feel like, you know, I've got Crow on the brain looking at the 2 in my hand. I'm thinking, oh, I bet my opponent has Crow too. You know, it's a regular murder of crows. I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoy animal collective names. You know, a murder of crows. What is it? A parliament of owls. If you've made it this far in the video, let me know in the comments what your favorite animal collective name is. Also, if you are a fan of weird music, let me know what your favorite animal collective album is. Pretty good band from Baltimore area. I like Centipede Hurts a lot myself, but of course Meriwether Post Pavilion is pretty good too. Sorry, I was yapping about music. It looks like our opponent did use that first DD Crow on the supervise effect targeting Gigaplant, so very nice of him to let us just get the power tool. We'll swing over the Mizuki and then pass it back to our opponent. Those 2 instant fusions are not going to be super helpful for our opponent, and he is just going to, in frustration, check the next few cards in his deck and give us the win. So GG to our opponent. Sorry they got a little frustrated at the end, but you know, I think I had fun. I hope they had fun at least a little bit. I hope you know, really all of these opponents had fun, and I hope you guys are having fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh. Maybe you're playing Gigavise, maybe you're playing something else, but no matter what you're doing, you know, make sure you're doing it because you enjoy it. That's really what counts the most. Anyways, guys, this has been Dionysus, aka Young Puds. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, go ahead and subscribe. If you didn't enjoy today's video, subscribe anyways. I'd really like to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month, and that is tomorrow. So it's kind of crunch time. So definitely subscribe if you haven't already. It's huge, and it helps the channel quite a little bit. Quite a lot bit, actually. Smash that friggin' like button, guy. Drop a comment if you've been having fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Drop a comment if you haven't been having fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Drop a comment if there's something you'd like me to cover in the future. Drop a comment if you never want to see me make another video again. No matter how you feel, is what I'm trying to say. Just drop a comment. I want to hear from you guys. All right. Have a nice day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with more shameless, hype beast, Gigavise content.